What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Edgar. Think of me as your YouTube older brother. I'm here to offer some advice and give you some insights into life the way I see it and just share my thoughts. Anyway, let's get right into it. So, I'm not gonna lie, this video is kind of on a whim. I don't really have a plan. I don't have a script. I don't even have talking points. But I decided to make this video because I've been struggling with something today, which I'll get into in a minute. And I feel like maybe you guys will be able to relate and perhaps get some benefit out of this. So let me tell you a little bit about my day. At the time I'm recording this, it's March 10th, which means daylight savings time just started, which means that I woke up an hour late this morning. So that sort of threw the start of my day off right off the bat, right? But like, it wasn't a big deal. But what was a big deal is that after waking up, I ended up just scrolling through social media for like the next 2 hours. Now this is something that I've done in the past, and I'm sure it's something that a lot of you have done too, but it's also something that I hate doing. I feel like it's wasted time. I get nothing beneficial from it, and truthfully, like, nothing on there is really that entertaining, so it's just a waste of time for everybody. Anyway, after wasting 2 hours of my life just scrolling through an endless feed of nonsense, I got up and I started my day. I washed some dishes, which was like the only productive thing I did all morning, and then I went to my parents for like an early lunch. I was with them for about 2 hours, and then I came back home. By the way, my wife is working today, which is why I'm only talking about myself in this scenario, or else she would have been with me. Anyway, when I got home, I wanted to do a little bit of work for my YouTube channel because it's Sunday, and Sundays I usually use for like writing or brainstorming or just getting started on a script, you know, bullet pointing something out. Today I wanted to start with some brainstorming, but for whatever reason I was just really struggling. And maybe it was because I spent the first 2 hours of my day just numbing my own mind with all this overstimulation from social media. Overstimulation hinders creativity, so there's a good chance that could be it, but I can't say for sure. Anyway, after about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes of just thinking and not being able to come up with anything that I felt was solid, I was starting to get really frustrated and just upset with myself. So what I decided to do was read. Now my thinking behind this was that if I wasn't going to get any actual work done, I could at least educate myself. Plus, reading is a good way to relax, and I really needed that at the moment. Anyway, after about 15 minutes of reading, I had this realization that, damn, like I've had a shitty attitude all day. Like, yeah, maybe I hadn't gotten much done, or I hadn't been very productive, or I spent my first 2 hours scrolling away on social media, but a poor attitude wasn't gonna help anything. And so that's kind of what spurred the inspiration for this video. Because if there's one thing I know, it's that attitude determines the outcome of your day far more than anything else. Right, and I'm sure you've all heard this before because it's not anything new, but you know, they say that you have to hear something several times before it really clicks. So I'm here to remind you. When you have a poor attitude or just a poor outlook on life, everything going on is negative. You won't be able to do your best work, and anything that would normally be considered a minor inconvenience is gonna piss you off like crazy. So the inverse is also true, right? Like, if you have a positive attitude or a positive outlook on life, then anything you do is going to be a reflection of that, right? So like, even if you're not able to do your best work, you're still going to be positive because you did what you could. And even if you weren't able to achieve whatever your goal was for the day, then your positive outlook will help you to flip it and gain something from it, right? Maybe you learned something new that you can do differently next time. Or maybe you just had a good time trying. The point is, your worldview is a direct reflection of your attitude, and your emotional state tends to be a direct reflection of your worldview. So if your attitude is poor and your worldview is poor, then your emotional state is also going to be poor. So how do you flip that? Now, this isn't something that I've had a whole lot of chance to look into because I'm making this video on a whim, but if I had to give 2 pieces of advice, it would be this. The first would be to just check in with yourself throughout the day so you can be aware of where your attitude is at that moment. Simply taking the time to reflect and realize how you're feeling will help you take steps to change it. So if you're feeling shitty, you might want to do something that you enjoy doing or that helps you relax, like reading a book, listening to music, maybe even playing some video games if that's what helps. For me today, it was reading, and you know what? It helped. The second thing I would suggest would be to celebrate any small victories you've had throughout your day. Back to me, for example. I washed dishes this morning. Now that's something that's really small, right? Because it's something that I expect to do every day, and it needs to get done if I want half clean dishes to eat on. But I got it done. That's a victory. And on top of that, while I was brainstorming, I actually came up with a few good ideas. And even though I never started actually working on the script, the idea is there, and so I can always jump into it at a different time. The problem is that my poor attitude during the day didn't allow me to see these things, and so it just sent me on this sort of downward spiral while I was feeling bad for myself until I got out of it. Anyway, the reason why I picked those 2 things to keep yourself in check about your attitude and to celebrate small victories is because I just did them a few minutes ago, and it worked. Basically, it turned this day full of negativity into a whole YouTube video. And even though I wasn't able to script one earlier, I kind of just skipped that step, and it turned into one that I just rattled off the top of my head. Anyway, I have just one more thought. There's this quote I heard years ago. I don't remember exactly who said it. Kanye West had a similar version, but I don't remember the original person. It says, your attitude determines your altitude. And so when applying it to a single day, this just simply implies that wherever your attitude is that day determines how high you can climb that day, how far you can go, how much you can get done. So if your attitude is poor, your attitude is low, then your output that day is also going to be low. Or even if you do get a lot of work done, then your perception of that work will be down here, so you'll feel like you didn't do much. But if you can just try to always have a positive attitude, always keep your attitude up here, then your amount of output and everything else can be up here. Sky's the limit. So next time you're in a slump or your attitude's down here, I want you to ask yourself, is this what I want to limit my output today to? Is this where I want to spend the rest of my day? Or do I want to put all these negative things to the side, try to show up as my best self, and let my work be a reflection of who I am that day? I think I know what your answer will be. Anyway, that's all I had for you today. If you enjoy it, check out these other videos, and I'm gonna get back into my book because I left mid-chapter, but catch you all next time.